Hi, and welcome to the video series on lead generation. In this particular video series, we're going to focus on generating leads in specific niches and how you can generate high converting qualified leads that both offline and online businesses need and will be willing to pay top dollar for. Now, I do want to mention this. Before you get started, you need the drive to want to make more money. So if that means that you must come out of your comfort zone and call somebody up, call a local business up, call an online business, call somebody, walk through the doors of an offline business and talk directly to them, then you want to do that. Now, I will say that lead generation is very lucrative and very profitable. However, you need to be able to jump out of your comfort zone. So I wanted to mention that before we dive in. Now, I want to give you a brief overview of what we're going to talk about in this specific video series. This specific video series is split up into 6 sub-videos or 6 videos or 6 parts. The first video will be this specific video. I'm going to give you a brief introduction, which I'm doing right now. And then I'll talk about how the system works. Basically the concepts, what you need to understand, what you need to have before you actually find businesses to approach and you set up the system. The second video will be about finding businesses that will be willing to pay top dollar for your leads, thereby removing the middleman. So you're the direct person that the businesses will be communicating with, and you will be selling leads directly to them. Video 3 will be about understanding how to set up this system. Now, video 1 and 2 prepare you for video 3. As you can see, they're cumulative. Video 1 allows you to understand the whole system. Video 2 allows you to find the businesses. Once you have found the business that you're dealing with, then you can set up the system. You can set up your squeeze page so you can begin to drive leads to that squeeze page, generate whatever lead, whether it's a prospective lead or a customer-based lead. And all of this will begin to make more sense when you actually view the specific video. Video 4 will be about how to get local leads. If you're dealing with an offline business, then you're going to be dealing with local leads. And we're going to be talking about Google AdWords, pay-per-click marketing. In specifics, Google AdWords has a feature called region targeting feature, which allows you to specifically target local leads. Video 4 will be talking about local leads. You can use Craigslist to find local leads. You can find market-specific leads with Craigslist as well. But in this particular video, I will be focusing on local leads. Video 6, how to get market-specific leads. Now, the reason why I focus on market-specific leads in this video for eBay classified ads is because eBay classified ads is more or less a general thing. So when I say general, you can't really focus specifically on a specific local market. For example, if I only wanted to target, South Carolina or North Carolina or Georgia areas, then I couldn't really do that because it's too general. However, if your goal is to specifically do only offline businesses, then video 4 and 5 would probably be your best bet. But if you are doing both online and offline businesses, let's say, for example, an offline business had an online component, whereas they are reaching out to the global market. Maybe they run a video production business. They do videos for people, and they want to reach a global market. Maybe you're a freelancer, you're doing software development, you're writing ebooks, things like that, and you're targeting these types of people. Then these types of people can utilize both online leads and offline leads. It doesn't have to be specific within that local area. So as you can see, videos 1, 2, and 3 are definite watch. But if you're only going to focus on online leads, then maybe video 6 is best for you. But you have to see it as video 4 and 5 can also be good for online leads if those local leads are willing to purchase from an online person. Because some of these local leads don't want to purchase from an online business and don't want to reach a global market. So you have to think through all these processes in video 1, which I will show you in just a minute. Alright, so let's get started with video 1. I just showed you the introduction, and now I want to talk about the concepts, how this system works. Understanding how the system works before you actually implement the system is very, very important. Sort of like your platform and your base. Once you get over this little platform, then you can begin to implement this system. So how does the system work? Well, basically the system works as this. You figure out your system first. You figure out what you want to do. Do you want to focus primarily on offline businesses or primarily on online businesses? And that's the question that you want to ask yourself, because a lot of people tend to want to do everything. They want to do everything. And what happens is, if you want to do everything, then you end up not making any money. And there's a lot of people that float on the internet that are looking to do everything. And I talked to my friend the other day. I was at lunch, and a lot of industries, whether it's internet marketing, any specific industries, a lot of people want to get in there and make a lot of money. And they want to focus on every single thing in that niche. And that's why I specifically say niche, because you want to get into a specific niche. You've got a general market, you've got a specific niche, so you want to focus on that specific niche. So let's say, for example, I only want to deal with offline businesses. So video 4 and 5 would be great for me. If that offline businesses wanted to deal with, online consumers, then maybe video 6 would come into play. So let's get started with the 5-step system, because we do have a little more to talk about this in this particular video. Step 1 is going to be about what kind of business that you want to sell your leads to, whether it's an offline business or an online business. I would highly recommend, just like I said earlier, pick and choose, offline or online. Because yeah, you can approach online businesses later, but if you're doing offline, try to focus on offline, and then if you're doing online, just focus on the online. Try to do something first. Once you've gotten over the hump and done offline businesses and it starts to work, maybe then you can create another system and do it on online. And we'll talk more about that in video 2 on how to find offline businesses by using Google Local and Yahoo Local to find these businesses. Step 2 is about doing your research. Once you know what kind of offline or online business to approach, then you can do your research. You can brainstorm. Once you've done your brainstorming, you can do market research, keyword research, and find out whether it's profitable or not to continue. A lot of people make the mistake of skipping the step. They think of a product that they want to sell, they make the product, and then they market it. That's a big, big mistake. If you don't do your brainstorming, you don't do your market research, and you don't do your keyword research, then you don't know if it's going to be profitable or not. Step 3 is what type of lead you want to attract. And I'll dive a little more detail in these specific videos, whether it's a prospect or customer lead. Right now you might be thinking, well, what difference does it make? A lead is lead. Well, there are different types of leads. Some leads will convert higher than other leads, And because you know that, when you approach these offline businesses, you can say, hey, this lead is going to convert higher. I'm going to charge you 20 bucks or 30 bucks or 40 bucks or more, depending on, maybe the lifetime value of a specific lead. We'll talk more about that in step 3. Step 4 is to develop your squeeze page. So once you've gone through step 1 and 3, 1, 2, and 3, now is the time to develop your squeeze page. And of course, step 5 is to test that squeeze page and start driving traffic to that squeeze page, which then we talk about in videos 4, 5, and 6. So let's get started. Let's talk about the steps in specific. As you remember, step 1 is what kind of business do you want to sell your leads to, offline or online? If you are going to focus on offline leads, then we're going to use Google Local or Yahoo Local to find or how many there are. And you might be thinking, well, why would I really want to know how many businesses there are in that specific niche? If you're looking at businesses in general niches, there are probably going to be a lot more. Specifically, like consulting. People that provide services or people that provide consulting services are a great niche to get into. Because a lot of these people, they may not necessarily have a storefront, but they do have a service which they can provide and sell to these people on an ongoing basis. So these people tend to realize that getting leads is very important. Or somebody that might provide a service. You might have a local business that provides websites. These people understand that local leads are important, but they might have an online component as well. So they're open to both local leads and leads that come offline. Now, the offline businesses that specifically focus on the offline and local market are a good market as well, because most likely they're not doing a lot of marketing, they're not doing a lot of online marketing, so you have an edge there. Now, I do want to say this, businesses in general niches versus businesses in specific niches. Businesses in specific niches understand how important their leads are, because if you can have somebody in a specific niche, most likely they are going to have a higher conversion rate. So keeping that in mind, businesses in specific niches may be willing to pay you a lot more money for a specific lead. All right, so step 2 is about doing your research. First, you need to brainstorm, which you'll need your brain, a pen and a paper. And you want to brainstorm about maybe taking a general market and breaking it down and seeing what kind of keywords people are typing in. And that's where we come to market research. Is the market there? Is there a market? If there's no market for it online, then, and not a heavy market, then maybe you need to move on to a different niche. And the whole point of this exercise is to figure out, is there a market? You do your keyword research. Is that market actively searching for that area? Is that market specifically searching for a product? That's why I say specific niches. If you can find an offline business that does provide a specific niche, and you can find these people, then you could even sell to these people and create what we call customer-based leads. These people will be maybe purchasing a product, and you can approach the offline business and say, these are leads that recently purchased a product. These are not leads that just filled out a form, because you've got a lot of companies that are paying 20, 30, 40 bucks just for somebody that fills out a form. If you can get 10 or 20 bucks for that, then for somebody that actually purchases maybe a product or gets a free CD and makes a first transaction, a money transaction, then you've got yourself a higher converting and more qualified lead. And in this case, you can sell them for 40, 50 bucks or 30, 40, 50 bucks. And of course, you got to negotiate with that specific offline business. If you find 10 or 20 offline businesses, then you can tell that offline business that. You can say, hey, I'm selling leads to so-and-so for 20 bucks. And I'm willing to give you leads, for 20, 30 bucks. And most likely they're going to think, oh, okay, well, definitely. Or they might be thinking, well, I want brand new leads. Give me a brand new, fresh leads for a little more money. So you could negotiate. And you want to lay out your terms and your service and your conditions before you actually approach these businesses. And that brings us to keyword research. Keyword research, we're going to use the Word Tracker free tool and SpyFu, which allows you to see whether or not there's a market out there that is actively searching on Google or on Yahoo for a specific keyword. Step 3, we're going to talk about what type of lead you want to attract, whether it's a prospect lead or a customer-based lead. Previously, I did talk to you about these two types of leads. Remember, you want a lead that can take a specific action. Well, the question is why? Well, a specific action equals a higher conversion. If somebody takes a specific action, whether that means a prospect lead, a freebie lead, they fill out a form, or they fill out 100 questionnaires just to get into a site. Think about dating sites. Online dating sites are notorious to pay for somebody to generate leads, especially because specific lead is looking to fill out 100 questions to find out their personality profile and maybe find somebody through that avenue. So that specific prospect can eventually lead to a buyer. So that equals a higher conversion rate. Then we've got a customer-based lead. This type of lead will buy a product. Let's say you offer a product up front for $7. Or you use the free CD method, which you say, hey, here's a free CD, but you have to pay shipping and handling. If they buy into this, then you know that they are going to convert at a higher rate because they are getting a free CD, but they're paying for shipping. So they're willing to whip out their wallet in order to pay for shipping. And that tells you right there and then that they are a customer-based lead. Prospect leads, you can charge them at a certain rate. Customer-based leads are at a higher rate. So you could even think about this. Maybe you could think about having your own funnel, building your own list, but offering a specific product that the offline business or online business has and use it as an upsell. And you could do something like an affiliate program. So there's so many types of ideas and methods that you can use to make money from leads. But in this specific video series, we're going to focus specifically on selling the lead to the offline business or to the online business. And that brings us to step 4, developing your squeeze page. The question that you might have is, well, what tools do I need before I actually move on to the other videos? Well, you're going to need to have a WYSIWYG editor. WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get. You can use Dreamweaver or NVU. Dreamweaver is a paid editor or HTML editor tool that you're going to have to pay for. NVU, on the other hand, is free. So if you go to Google and just type in NVU or download NVU, you'll find the NVU editor. Then you're going to need an autoresponder to have people fill out a form and get on your list. So you can get their data, you can get their first name, last name, email address, or whatever other form data that you need to acquire. Maybe you need to acquire their address. You can do all that through using an autoresponder. In this example, in this video series, we're going to use Aweber autoresponder. That's Aweber, and we'll talk about that in the future videos. Then you need web hosting to host your website. Then you need a payment processor, which is optional. If you go the free CD route, or the route where you have the lead purchase a specific product because you want to weed out all the other leads, then you're going to need a payment processor. In this case, I'm going to use PayPal. Then Kunaki. If you use a free CD route, you're going to need a system where a service produces the CDs for you and then ships out the CD. You don't want to be producing the CDs for yourself, because if you do that, it's very, very time consuming. Your job here is to generate the leads and sell them. That's it. All the other types of services need to be provided by a third party, because you want to spend the least amount of time and make the most money. And that leaves us step 5, which is testing your system and start driving traffic to your landing page, which is where videos 4, 5, and 6 come into play. Video 4 is Google AdWords region targeting. Video 4 is Craigslist. And video 6 is eBay classified ads.